basically today we're gonna be focusing on mostly again how to like be safe for winter upcoming, and when winter up comes, that's when we like have to get some, that's where you have to like climate change ends and you have to get new stuff for like your jacket. So we have to work on preparing. It's like preparing for a snowstorm, because the equator is going away from the sun, or most importantly, the sun is going away from the equator down south. Um, so we get more colder up in the north. So the north, mostly in the U.S. I'll be showing you guys a better way to prepare for the upcoming winter going on. And if we go to gallery over here, then I type and search for winds. If I did that, then you would basically see the wind direction for the north. It's gonna start changing, and when that starts changing, we have more. Like, I don't know how to say it, but we have. Here's a way to say it. We have more different way the ways are different storms going, because when La Nina happens, then we have like last year we had basically all the storms coming from northwest on Washington and Oregon, and it always went across the whole country, and when that happened, we'd be looking more into that and the stuff like going across the winds, coming west to east. For if there's a La Nina season, then that's how we know more things are happening. And usually when we have, like, I don't know how to say it, but when we have more, here's what I said. We have different changes. And when we have different changes, then we get more climate change. And those climate change can also become, like I said in the last video, it could be from like pollution from people throwing garbage around, and people throwing those garbages can cause. An example is like, what do you know it can cause? It can cause hurricanes to form, more hurricanes to form, no hurricanes to form. It's all mixed up. It's really different. And that's climate change. And that climate change is actually from the difference that happens between the winds, west and east. And those west and east winds actually form from different seasons like La Nina, all those type of stuff. And all those type of stuff forms from climate change. And it can form from the energy used up, like from the seasons that have gone by. And those seasons that have gone by, it's like a chain, a food chain basically. So those winds are going to start going over here, west, northwest, where mouse is, down into the whole U.S. It could cover it up. I remember last year I did a video on how there was covering up the whole entire season. And when it covers up that whole season, it basically, last time, it actually over here in the Northeast, it had a whole line, like a derecho, but it was not a derecho, a storm across, and it was massive. It wasn't severe, it was big though. So when we go over here, lastly, this is probably most likely going to be the last major hurricane that's, well, it's not going to be a major hurricane, but this is most likely going to be the last category 2 that's going to happen, since that's a category 2. And since that's a category 2, we're probably going to get category 1s and then tropical storms after that, and that's it. Nothing else after that. And then when all those stuff are gone, then it's gone, basically. So that's when the season ends, and we go into fall, and the hurricane season, November 30th is the end, basically. So that's when we start seeing more differences. And when all those differences happen, we have, what do you know? We have more stuff. Like, we basically have different changes. Weather starts to change because the sun movement, and with that sun movement change, we get more storms. And all those more storms can cause, basically, it can cause anything. And that's due to climate change. And that climate change is from people polluting. And it also comes from the La Nina season. It basically takes up all that energy and it keeps it with it. So that's why that happens, and that's why we could change. And it's always, if there will be no season, and except Northeast, no seasons, that will be the rarest thing to happen on Earth for sure. Because stuff like that is extremely rare. And those stuff can happen from anything basically. And anything like that is too rare to happen, so we don't have to worry about no seasons happening. All we have to worry about is some storms, maybe some bit of storms, and that's it. And because we have those storms, that's where we start preparing after that, because it's basically using up energy. That's why we have storms like that, and those storms can be caused from anything. And when we have those type of storms, like hurricanes, here's an example. When you have hurricanes, you know you're coming closer to the season that's going to start. And when that season starts, you get cold. It gets cold up in the northeast area, the Midwest area, the West area. And here's an example. California basically has all-time temperatures I've ever seen before. It's got into 30. It's got into 100. It's got into 100 something. So that's why I'm going to use that as an example. Because when we have stuff like that, that's when we know that there's going to be stuff going on. And actually, California is a place where you would do weather a lot, because it's the best place. It's a good place to do weather, because when you have different temperatures in the same area with a long range, that's a good spot to focus on during weather. Another good spot to focus on is also Washington. They have a lot of all kind of temperatures, and when we have all those kind of temperatures, we basically get a lot of what do you know? We get a lot of derechos during spring, the month of springs, the spring months. We can get we mostly get snowstorms. And the start of winter, we get some storms, not hurricanes anymore. Bye bye. But we can also get a lot of stuff actually. It's very different. Because when we get different storms, that's when going to different seasons. So that's another way to figure out some stuff like that, in case you need help knowing, in case you're like stuck on something. You could also anytime do that. Like I would start right now wearing fall jackets, because it's coming fall. Fall is upcoming, and when we have fall upcoming, then we get more mixed of storms. We can get mixed storms a lot, and we're most likely gonna have mixed storms during the fall. We're gonna have hurricanes, normal storms, and the rarest thing that's gonna happen in the fall is probably just some snow. That's gonna be part of the rarest thing that's gonna happen so far in fall. So then we don't have to well, people have adapted to their environments already, so they know what to do when different seasons come. And when those different seasons come, we have more changes. And all those changes can be from anything, really. And really, when we have changes like that, we have different seasons upcoming. So you know when the season upcoming. Here's an example. If you were not to know when the seasons were upcoming, you would notice a change in temperature. You would notice a big change in temperature, in fact. So that's why we do weather to alert people so they're safe and they're never in danger. And when they're safe, that's how we know that we're actually doing something in progress. And by the way, for winter, we're going to start getting closer into the month of October, and then start getting into November, and then we'll start focusing on adapting, because summer to fall and winter is a big change. because it can go to 100 degrees to 30 degrees in just a few months. So that's why we gotta tell everybody how to adapt to their environment to be safe. And that'll be it for today's video. I'm talking about how we're gonna work it out for winter upcoming. So that's when we're gonna focus on adapting. And in my next video, I'll start showing how to adapt to fall. So I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Hey guys, welcome back again to today's video. And now I'm going to adapt to fall. So I'm going to start with the north of US because that's where the fall starts first off. So we're going to start with how you have to adapt to it. So start putting your plants inside because it gets a bit cold. You're going to have to start wearing fall jackets a lot more often because if you're going to wear fall jackets, it has to be in fall. Duh. Well, it's not going to be in fall, basically. You don't have to wear because sometimes you don't need fall jackets, and that's different. So when we get fall jackets, that means fall starts. Fall is starting. So then you know how to adapt to it. Once you start, if you're just moved somewhere, I get it that you have to adapt harder because you haven't been there in a long. Been there probably been there once, probably never been there, so you're gonna have to adapt to that environment. But if you're moving from Florida to California, you don't really have to adapt too much, although in the winter you do because it does snow in California. So when you adapt to fall, start with Florida. Florida has a fall. You'll probably just wear a few fall jacket a few times this season. You never wear it multiple times because when fall happens in hot areas near the equator, you're not gonna get stuff like that to happen. You're most likely not gonna get stuff to that happen. Up to that range, it's probably gonna be the lowest temperature in Florida. Yeah, the lowest temperature in Florida is probably just gonna be. Yeah, the lowest temperature is probably gonna be 50 in a whole season because Florida is near the equator and it's very hot near the equator. And the sun actually moves further down south, which is why we get winter and which is why we get fall. And when that happens, we have more things happening, like temperature change. And when we have temperature change like that, we get more different jackets. We have to buy jackets. That's one of the most important things of seasons. And if you don't buy jackets, you're probably gonna be cold. So that's why I'm telling you to start buying some jackets if you're in you live north. And don't start buying jackets when winter comes because it'll be very cold. Start buying fall jackets. Buy your winter jacket. I would buy your winter jacket. I would start buying your winter jacket when fall is closer to the end of it, so you don't have time to get it. And you don't freeze to death or anything like that, and then you get actually something good and a benefit, so you don't have to freeze to death. And you don't want to freeze to death, that you die. So that's why when I'm talking about this video, how you have to adapt to your environment, you have to get used to the snow already. So I would start getting used to the snow closer to winter. Somehow you have to get used to the snow. There's a lot of different ways to get used to the snow. I would get used to the snow by getting here's a tip. Start turning off your heaters to get used to it, so you don't have to be prepared for the upcoming season. And when that upcoming season comes, you know what to do then. So you're not oh, what do I do? I've never been here before or something like that. You'll just be ready. You know what to do. You know how to do this. You know how to do that. You know how to do everything so you're safe. You're real safe. So you don't okay. Let's say I'm from Haiti. I'm moving to New York. You would have to adapt a lot, in fact. The summer is hot, like Haiti sometimes, but you're still gonna have to adapt to the environments like that. Because if you're gonna adapt to the environment like that, you have to do a big change, because that amounts of time change and temperature change from distance is crazy. From moving South America, Colombia to Montana, that's one of the biggest changes you would do. Um, when we do that, like that, we have to adapt more. So when we go to the forecast, I'm gonna show you guys something, okay? So basically, Glenmont, Louisiana, 86 now. In New Jersey, it's probably not even gonna be that hot. When it's gonna be that warm in Louisiana and you have to adapt to New Jersey, that's different because it's more hotter and different. So when you do that, you get more. Start wearing jackets. You start wearing more seasonal stuff. You start wearing more jackets. You're definitely gonna wear some jackets. You're definitely gonna wear some different clothes. Definitely different clothes. And when you wear those different clothes, you're gonna have to wear stuff like what do you know stuff you have to wear? You would have to wear sweaters, start of fall sweaters, maybe some sweaters. You're usually not gonna wear a lot of like short sleeve a lot and fall shorts. Some people would, some people don't. So that'll be it for today's video. And next we're gonna focus on how the storms will end. So goodbye for this video.